Yo, what up, Azam?
Sammy Lee here. Ooh!
Oh, brothers, baby!
One of the biggest releases of the year for basketball shoes.
Yup.
Everyone's always excited for the Kyries. I love Kyries. Highly anticipated. Very, very excited to test these out. And let's go over the tech specs of the shoe. And I guess my overall first impression / I guess initial review of the Kyrie 5. So let's get right into it. You have the weird storytelling tracking pattern. You have, I guess, individual pods that kind of look like an eyeball.
Yeah.
And then you have little individual lines inside of the pods, which are pretty pliable, pretty soft.
Yeah.
So I don't know how durability is going to be, but it is kind of deep. It's pretty deep.
They're pretty deep, but the lines are pretty thin. It reminds me definitely
of the two. Yes, or like I guess like the Hyperdunk 2016. That was a real good traction pattern. And you know, when you do a move, it looks like the rubber will move with the movement of your foot. You know, because it is pretty pliable and soft. So I feel like traction is going to be good. I tried it on my wood floors. It seems pretty solid. It does pick up a little bit of dust, but I feel like once I break it in, it should be okay. I mean, in the heel, it's actually pretty damn thick.
Yeah, it actually thickens up in the heel. I didn't notice that.
That's smart.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause you don't need it to move as much. Most of the heavy movement is, I guess, more in the forefoot, especially when you're doing, you know, crosses and stuff.
And the rubber's a lot harder in these pods.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because it's thicker or the compound is actually thicker, but yeah, it's most likely just because it's a thicker groove. So
yeah, there's really no squeak on it though, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it might be like the Kyrie 4s. You know, at first it's not really squeaky.
The 2s aren't crazy squeaky, right?
No, it is a little bit, but not crazy. Yeah, but yeah. So hopefully it's like the 2 though. We'll have to see. You know, there is a little eyeball, which, you know, you can see through it and you can see the zoom in it, which we'll get into, but that is see-through as well. It says established 1992. I guess that's when Kyrie was born.
Is that when he was born?
He's only 2 years older than me?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And also, they implemented the, you know, outsole curvature on the shoe as well, so I guess they're going to keep, you know, making that. It feels awesome. It feels a little bit more rounded than all the other Kyries though, which we'll get into more specifics like on how each Kyrie feels according to, I guess, like, you know, the outsole curvature. But the Kyrie 5 is they're a little bit more rounded and a little bit flatter than most of the other Kyries that I've tried. So I guess Kyrie wanted it to be a little bit more mellow on this version, I guess.
Right.
So, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, there is the outsole. Pretty excited for it. Moving on to the cushion though. So the midsole is an injected Phylon midsole, kind of like, I guess, a Kobe AD Exodus, but definitely not as soft and not as much compression. In the heel there is a little bit of compression. You can't really see the cushion compress too much though. It's just that I feel a little, I don't know if it's the insole or maybe my heel digging into the cushion, or I guess the Phylon a little bit. Yeah, the heel is actually not bad. I would say it's not as much as the Kyrie 4, but also not as stiff as, I guess, the Kyrie 2 or the Kyrie 3, which is a good, I guess, kind of medium, you know, but I would have liked it to be a little bit more softer in the heel, but it's not horrible. The insole is really nice. The insole is actually, you know, there's a lot of compression in it. Feels more of like a memory foam.
It's like your ortholite insole.
Yeah,
probably.
So the other Kyries, a little bit more, you know, not as much memory foam, I guess, feeling underneath your foot. But the Kyrie 5, it feels very premium. It feels like the Under Armour, you know, the Under Armour insoles.
Oh yeah.
It feels pretty soft. So that feels really nice. Of course, you guys are probably wondering, how does that Zoom Turbo feel?
Ooh.
Can't feel anything as of
Nothing.
right now.
I already knew that.
It's really interesting. So like, here's my KD6 ID. So I don't know if it's gonna show up on camera. It's really hard to see inside because it's super dark. But do you see that, Donny boy? Like in the forefoot, do you see that? It's kind of like an imprint of the forefoot zoom unit.
Oh yeah.
You see that? And try pressing it. It's like, you know, there's a lot of compression and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It feels like a zoom unit.
Yeah.
But feeling, so I kind of took the insole out. I don't like taking insoles out because it's glued in, and once I take it out, you know, it moves a little bit, you know, because I ruined the glue work. But I kind of removed it a little bit on my right shoe, and there's really no imprint or anything of the zoom in. It's a stiff struggle board, so it's kind of, you know, it's pretty hard to feel. especially in the forefoot. It is really big though. It's kind of like basically the entire forefoot.
Wow.
Yeah, it is articulated though, so you aren't gonna feel it as much, obviously, because it's articulated.
Yeah.
But that's supposed to help with the movement. I don't really know how that's supposed to help though, because like the forefoot really never moves like this or anything, you know. I guess it does move a little bit like this, but Zoom kind of does feel stiff. So I do understand that, but as of right now, I can't really feel anything in the forefoot. Hopefully it does break in though, and that forefoot zoom unit, it feels nice underneath, you know, my forefoot, but as of right now, I can't really feel anything. And cord feel seems to be pretty good. So there's that. Moving on to the materials, you have EM basically, and the EM basically goes throughout the entire upper. Feels exactly like the Kyrie 4s.
Yeah, pretty stiff.
It's a little like stiff, but it definitely will soften up.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of fuse in the toe as well for toe drags, for a little bit more durability. I guess in the back and the heel, you have the Illuminati triangle eye thing.
Yeah. Standard Kyrie materials.
Standard Kyrie
pretty
materials.
Pretty much, which oftentimes really do the trick.
Yeah.
You know, super supportive.
It is a little bulky in the heel,
Right.
but that's basically the same as the Kyrie 4. There's a little bit of padding, you know? And of course, you guys are also probably wondering about this fly trap inspired forefoot strap.
This thing is crazy.
Yes. So the fly wire, you see the fly wire?
Yeah.
So there's 3 fly wire cables that go throughout the upper, I guess more on the lateral side on the bottom. And then there's a long ass fly wire cable that's attached to the actual strap. You see that?
Yeah.
So it's...
This is crazy.
Yeah, so it's attached to kind of like the point, kind of at the tip of the
Yeah.
strap, and then it goes through this fly wire cable, and it goes back around through the hole, and then it acts as kind of like an eyelet, and the laces go through it. So once you tighten it, obviously the lace that's attached to the strap is going to tighten. And then
you feel it really compressing on your foot?
The strap, no. But
Yeah.
I can definitely feel the fly wire tighten on the lateral side. So I definitely, it'll help for lateral support. And the fly wire feels good. But I feel like if it would have been better if it went the other way.
Yeah.
Right? So the strap can, you know, tighten this way.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have been a little bit better. But the fly wire feels pretty supportive. So does it really work? I'm not sure. I think the material's a little stiff. It's a little too stiff to feel right now. But I feel like once I break it in, you know, a little bit more, it might, you know, you never know, it might tighten a little bit more on my forefoot and midfoot, I would say. But as of right now, it doesn't really feel like this part is going this way and really tightening, you know. I just feel the fly wire kind of tighten up, which feels pretty nice though. So, but of course, lockdown does seem to be good, especially from the laces. Once you tighten it up, it doesn't really feel like, you know, my foot really feels locked down. So that's how the strap works. Pretty innovative. Shout out to Ben. So there's that. Moving on to fit. Fit is amazing. Kyrie's always fit my foot really, really nicely.
True to size?
True to size. Go true to size. Length, yeah, true to size. Width-wise, I would say it's slightly narrow. It fits very, very, actually exactly the same as the Kyrie 4, I would say. So width-wise, slightly narrow. Length is true to size. There's really no dead space in the toe. I like the lockdown so far, especially with the fly trap, with the fly wire on the side. And it is a mid-cut. It reminds me a lot of the 3. You see the 3?
Definitely.
It's exactly the same. See that?
The overall silhouette reminds me a lot of the 3 too.
Exactly, but this is like, especially in the ankle area, that's exactly the same. So it feels pretty similar to the 3 as well as far as like the upper goes. Moving on to support and lockdown. Support and lockdown, I feel like it's gonna be amazing. The heel, you know, the midsole looks like it comes up a little bit, so it actually contains your foot as well. It did in the Kyrie 4s, so heel containment feels good. So there is an internal TPU heel counter, and of course in the forefoot, you see that tooth, that white tooth that comes up? That comes up a lot, you know, obviously for lateral containment. And you see this black part right here in the forefoot? I thought that was more like the material, but it feels, it's basically the phylon, this black part, and that comes up a lot in the forefoot. And it also, you know, there's this plastic part that says Air Zoom Turbo, which also helps for lateral containment in the forefoot. Containment's gonna be amazing, dude.
Yeah, you're not gonna have any problems in these.
Yeah, so support and all that in lockdown feels like it's gonna be awesome. And also, this is one of the widest Kyries. I was comparing it to the 1 through 4, and it looks like it's like a 1/4 of an inch wider than the rest of the shoes. So I feel like you're gonna be a little bit more stable as well. You can see the outrigger, it comes out a lot, you know, on the lateral side. So you're gonna be stable. All right, moving on to weight, 12.92 ounces. On the heavier side of things, you know, I think it's a little bit, probably around the same as a Kyrie 4 and stuff like that. Kyries are never usually the most minimal feeling shoe because, like, you know, there's a little bit of padding in the material, and also the cushion is pretty bulky usually. But it's very, very responsive. You know, Kyries are very responsive usually. Like, the traction's amazing. You know, support and lockdown, you know, all of that is usually good. So I feel like this is going to be a very responsive shoe if the traction holds up. Aesthetics.
Yeah, these are dope.
This is the Black Magic colorway. You like these?
I like them. I'm not a fan of the strap at all.
Really?
In person, like, it just looks like a wing or something.
I like
it. Reminds me of those Jeremy Scotts, you know, with the wings coming around.
No.
But yeah, the overall silhouette's cool.
Yeah. So the price of the Kyrie 5 is $130. You know, they raised the price by $10. Previously, the Kyrie 4 was $120. Tell us what you guys think. Should they have kept the same price? What do you guys think? But anyways, my first impressions, they definitely feel like a Kyrie, and I feel like if the traction is good, these are gonna be really, really nice. And hopefully the cushion also breaks in, you know, that zoom unit. But anyways, that's my first impressions. If you guys want to cop a pair, we'll leave a link in the description box. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next one.
Later.
Peace.